I'm not taking anybody's, private information. And notice it's preparing, I have a slow internet here at the University of Longer. It's setting, redirecting YouTube. And notice you can see me. This is on YouTube. Notice it's delayed. It's delayed 10 seconds, 20 seconds, because what is it going from the Zoom server to the YouTube server? Everybody with me? So the delay, when is this not good? When I'm doing high frequency trading and I'm there and I say, follow me, right? Those 20 seconds, I've got in and out of the trade. So that is not good for using YouTube. So you have to know what you're using and what's the purpose of it. So you can see in that case, this is recording me. Any questions? So the other part, let me go to, and I promise you, I can have hundreds of slides, but I'm not going to do it. But then basically, this is me. I'm a professor in the business school. I wear a number of different hats. I'm a professor in the business school in business technology. I also work with our medical school in bringing their research projects to market. So I'm working kind of as a mentor to those folks in the medical school. And just think what AI is doing there, right? You can take a picture, you can contact me, feel free anytime. I'm on LinkedIn. My phone number you'll see is 843-779-2426. And what the beauty is, since now I'm in Miami, you can come back to Miami because you'll say you have to talk to me. Mm-hmm. So you can go for a visit. That's a good one, right? Did you hear that?
Yes.
But another one is we can do it online or we can do a hybrid kind of thing. So anyways, but by the way, my number is also a vanity number. And we'll talk about that later. But this is where it is. This is a little bit of background with me. I've taught in a number of universities, from the University of Miami, the University of San Francisco, USC, and UCLA. I've also given a number of lectures throughout the world, and also, for instance, for a number of lectures in econ. So, and basically, my expertise is trying to figure out how do businesses use technology for either getting closer to the customer, basically being more efficient, basically return on investment. If these are, and my goal here is not to use technology for technology's sake. So those are the areas. My academic background, I've have my undergraduate degree at Tel Aviv University. I work with, since I have a Tel Aviv University, I've worked with a lot of tech companies. You're familiar with the tech companies in Israel, of Checkpoint and others publicly traded. Anybody hear of Mobileye? Mobileye is, anybody have, when your car, they have lane departure, it beeps, or they find your blind spot. Anybody have that in their cars?
Yes.
That was done by Mobileye. So basically that is from a group of professors. They started it, and that's in computer vision, doing with algorithms. They were basically they exited, they had the highest exit in at the time for Israeli companies. And you can tell sometimes you don't want to listen to the professor. I worked with them while they were in their startup stages, and then they came to me and they said, you know what, somebody gave us, and they, three guys, right? Two professors, two nerdy professors, and this one electrical engineer that wrote that they had the fastest chip in the world that could be able to do vision, right? So what did they tell me? They said, you know, from these three guys, we have an offer to exit for $5 billion, and I choked almost $5 billion. And what do I say? Take the money and run, right? And then they said, no, we have other investment firms. They said we should wait. Maybe we can get 10 billion. So anyway, finally, Intel acquired them at the time for 16 billion, right, with a B, and they really went well. And then they went on their own for a while. Then Intel took like 90% of their shares. And then in the last years, if you go look them up, they've had a really crash of over 50% losses. And what is the problem? Is I think one is people get the CEO who's brilliant, gets involved in so many other projects, loses the side of the ball, and there's what? Competition. So things are changing. They're just like normal, right? Nothing new there. So I've worked with them, and then I also have worked with our students and helping our students as well. So this is my test to you. I think the most successful leaders won't just automate, they'll elevate. They'll use AI to take care of all your repetitive tasks so their teams can focus on what matters. What matters is just strategy you have for your business. And I imagine you're talking about this weekend. Your creativity, your trust. Think about it. One of our problems in these black boxes is what's behind it. I used to think about those in the black boxes of those trading systems. What's behind it, and the difference between the charlatans and not, and that human connection. That's why they need you. But these are the important things that when you're coming to technology, I'm not saying this, but take care of those repetitive tasks. Why do I want those repetitive tasks done? My employees wasting their time on it. If basically that AI can do a better job. And the other one that I want you to go away with is as AI continues to evolve, the bar for innovation should rise. But so should the value of the people behind the technology. So I don't want those that are responsible in your organization for technology, I don't want them to just invest in AI. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think that's the wrong direction. What you should invest in your people's ability to work with it. Everybody see my point? So that is the key, and that is not easy. But that's what, any vendors, what you decide to work on, this is what you're going to be able to do in your teams is when they're bringing you AI, well, how are we going to integrate it in our team? So those are the areas that I want to do. So I did a number of things here in studies. We used to do research in strategies and algorithmic trading. And when you do research, what's interesting is you never know the results. They can be different results. And so what it turned out is the strategies that we came and the algorithms that we found at the time were the same by coincidence of Google's search engine. Have you ever seen, have anybody here of SEO? What's SEO stand for? Search engine optimization. How to be the highest in the search engine. You don't want to be in the desert in page 25, right? You want to be one. And everybody, all these Indians and others used to have companies, will if you paid them or to be organic searches, not paid searches, to get number one. It turned out our algorithm was very similar to Google's. And I wanted companies to try it out because I have nothing to sell except my knowledge. And I had a number of companies that wanted to do it, but I was a bit afraid because then Google will, pull me out. I was like, taking away all Google's ads and things. But we have something called a vanity phone number. In the United States, a vanity phone number, I don't know if they have it in Mexico too, is it has words. So for instance, like there was 1-800 mattresses, basically that you could do and you could dial it, right? I don't know. They have that in Mexico that you, Yes, no, no. This is a number right here called 1-800-CHAT-GPT. If I go, and you can do this too. Let's see if we can hear it. If I go to my voice and I'm going to call, the way I can call, if I do 1, and you can get your dialer out, especially if you have a US phone. Those of you that have a US phone number, take out your phone and just have in the beginning 1-800, and then what is chat? What number is that? Anybody help me? 2. So 2 is for the C. What is the H? 4. 8, 2. 8. Perfect. We got a great class. Chat GPT. G. And then P. 7. And T. Now, what do you think you'll get at the end of that phone number? Don't try it now. What do you think will happen? Hugo, what do you think will happen?
Doctor, good morning. I don't know, can I help you with something?
Yeah, but who's on the other end? We're calling a number, right? I can call you, Hugo, right? And you can give me your number, or you can call my number and I'll answer the phone. What will behind that number?
A machine.
A machine and who owns that machine? Or what company? What? Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Nobody even know, how many people knew that you can call Chat GPT? So basically it was on a hackathon. What they did is they had Chat GPT basically do it. And one of the things I want to do, let me do this, which I forgot, is here. What I want to do is I want to share. I want to then share my screen. So I'm sharing my screen, and now Google will pick that up. And now I have my phone. So now if I call, let's see if we can hear it.
Hi, it's ChatGPT. This call may be reviewed for Sophie. How can I help?
Yes. Hi, I'm with a great Mexican team, financial. Can you say hello on your behalf in Spanish?
Claro. Hola de su parte al equipo de Financial en México.
Okay, continue speaking in Spanish while I speak in English. So how can AI help a trading firm?
La inteligencia artificial puede ayudar a las firmas de trading a analizar grandes volúmenes de datos para predecir tendencias de mercado, automatizar operaciones, mejorar la toma de decisiones y gestionar riesgos de manera más eficaz. ¿Te interesa algo específico sobre cómo puede ayudar en trading?
Thank you. How do you say gracias? So you see that? So you can do it on the phone. And what beauty is, anybody have in Mexico landlines?
Yes, we do.
You can call, in Mexico, I don't think they may not have chat, this 1-800, but in the United States, if you even have a landline, you can call from a landline. So it's, in this case, it's interesting here. It's the same as basically here, though, the ChatGPT, how they have it is they have it time limited, they have it. So what's the difference between calling 1-800-ChatGPT versus I contacting, what is your name? Hortensia, that I call Hortensia's phone number.
Wait.
Everybody understand the question?
No.
I call Hortensia, right? She gives me her number, Sara. Here's my telephone number. I take my phone, I call her. And she picks up, or her answering machine, right, picks up, or I can text her. She can text me back, or we can go, I can have her number, we can go on WhatsApp, right? You go on WhatsApp, we can talk on WhatsApp, so it'll be free. What's the difference between that versus 1-800-CHAT-GPT?
Information, data, research,
I'm a person.
You're a person. That phone number, everybody, you have a phone number, you go to any one, so you know that phone number is non-programmable. It does not have a language model. You remember everybody hears large language model, anybody hear that before? It's basically all the information that ChatGPT or any of the ones have, that's in the phone number. So that type of number has to be programmable. So 1-800-CHAT-GPT, you have to go to another provider to get that number. And then what you can do is you can train the system based on your information. So you folks can get a phone number, train it on your company. So when the customer comes, just like basically like a chat bot, the only difference is they have a phone number and they can ask pertinent questions. And then what I want to do in my research is when they don't know the answer. Have you ever say, I hate that IVR, get me a person. You don't want to go down that jail mail. What I want to do is to be able, when I ask basically a potential client, your client asks a question, hold on, I don't know the answer. What all these language models have been trained to do is to be nice, to be agreeable. And sometimes by being so agreeable, they give you the wrong answer, right? They're too nice. Have you ever had those people? They're too nice, but I want you to be direct and tell me you don't know. That's sometimes what I don't like when somebody's selling me something. Just tell me you don't know what it does, right? When I'm doing technology, don't make up stories for me. I don't have patience. So this is what I want you to be able to do, is think about those programmable numbers. So when I did my PowerPoint here, we can think about it. This is called an AI caller. It's a voice-based agent. Basically, what you can think about it's voice. You can program it based on your company, and then it is there. So what I have my students do in my classes is I'm trying to disrupt my classes. I don't have influence on everything else the university does, but I have some influence. So my students, when they come to me and have my section is completely different than others. I said, we're going to try out technology, and guess what? What you're going to learn is it doesn't always work. You're going to have patience, and you're going to have to do what? You're going to have to document why it doesn't work. So in this case, what I have the students do is they go to a company called Voice AI Agents. And you think this is for developers, but what's nice is you really don't have to be a developer. What you can do, let me open the dashboard and see if I have it in sight. But what you can do is you can get, and it's called VAPI. You can start with your account, you give your email and so forth. But when you get into this, is they will give you a number. This is in the United States, so I don't know if it's going to work in Mexico, but it will come there if it isn't. But anyway, it will then do it, and then you can even get some templates describing it, and you can train it on your numbers. So I got a number. They give you a list of numbers. I try to do what? Vanity numbers. So I got a number called, let me just go back to my voice here. Wow, that doesn't sound too good, right? We're going to have taken here, I think. Okay, so anyways, what I have there is I have a number called USA. So it's going to be USA, and it's MON, M-O-N, well, W-E-L-L. Yes, how many? 10 minutes, okay. So I'll show you this. We have it. It calls.
I'm Manuel, your go-to for any innovations wellness queries. How can I assist you today?
Yes, I wanted to know your services. Can you help me with AI, and do you speak Spanish?
Yes, I'm here and listening carefully. At Smart Home Innovations, we provide a range of smart home services, including smart devices, setup, troubleshooting,
So you can,
and it.
so you can see it's like Chat GPT, but I got my number and I had it speak Manuel. And then to finish up here, because you guys need to get going, is what I also use here is a program from Google called Notebook LM. Anyone ever used it? What do you use it for? I can't see it.
I was doing like a master and we had to use our presentation.
Okay, so basically, if I look at it, this is free and now it's available in 60 countries. It's available in Mexico. You can get it in Spanish. And one of the beauties here, what I love about it, it's by Google, it's free. And you'll notice I love free for a while. And then anyways, in this case, you can see a number of different ones that I tried out. Use the Find a Broker directory. I'm trying to do research on that, seeing maybe if you guys want to work with me on that, is basically try to have a system where they're going to look for the best broker. But this one, in this case, I did it on your work. You put in your sources, and I put in your right here on the web, and then I even put in the agenda, and then it will come in with a portfolio history. You can basically ask it like ChatGPT questions, and then it will also give you a podcast. Let me just see in the podcast. And you could make it, I made it in English, but you could make the podcast in
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a pretty interesting financial group, INVX.
That's right.
We're aiming to get a really clear picture of how they operate, what they offer, especially some specialized products, and importantly, what they're saying about the market.
Yeah, their insights on things like the Mexican peso, the US Fed, that's where it gets really interesting.
So our goal today is...
Doesn't it sound like humans?
Exactly.
This basically, this is AI generated. So if you think about this one, what's nice here is if I look at it and then I'll finish up, is if I think about this, I'm going to go to the interactive mode, and let me just, on the interactive mode, let me just play it.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a pretty interesting financial group, INVX.
That's right.
We're aiming to get a really...
Hey there. Want to share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I want to share my thoughts. Where is INVX located?
Oh, that's a great question. And it actually hits right at the core of their structure.
Absolutely. The location is strategic.
You know, we were just about to unpack that duality.
Right. They operate in two main geographic areas.
Most of their history and the large Grupo Financiero are based in Mexico.
That's the Ascents Bank credit card and fund operation.
But then specifically, there's the US entity.
That's NVEX LLC, and it's located in Coral Gables, Florida.
So their operations span both the US and Mexico.
Oh, go for it.
Yes, can you speak in Spanish and explain that second question of where they're located?
That is a wonderful request. Absolutely.
Se encanta cuando te unes a la conversación.
So we've established that duality.
La ubicación es muy estratégica.
We said the large Grupo Financiero is in Mexico,
Y el segundo lugar clave es en los Estados Unidos.
specifically the US entity.
Excise NVEX LLC.
Okay, and then I'm going to stop here for,
So-
I'm gonna- I can stop it.
This dual presence is actually crucial.
So you can see this one, and it also has, and let me just show you one more thing and then I'm finishing up here, is
You know, in the world of finance, 30 years is practically an eternity. It's enough time to see markets absolutely boom, then bust, and then completely reinvent themselves.
So basically this will, if you think about it, this will do a slideshow. And they're getting better each time. So let me just finish with this and then you can see the same thing.
You know.
And for this,
It's 30
for the
years is
city,
practically eternity. It's enough time to see markets absolutely boom, then bust, and then completely reinvent themselves. Today, we're going to dive into Invex, a financial group that hasn't just survived for over 3 decades, they've actually thrived
And then
by
you can
constantly
take it-
evolving. So let's take a look at how they
But
pulled
it-
it off. Right at the heart of their entire operation is this one really powerful idea. And listen, this isn't just some corporate mission statement they hang on a wall. It's the bedrock, the absolute foundation that's allowed them to last this long. Trust and integrity. Everything we're about to see today really grows from this core principle.
And you can
It's a great
download
question,
it,
isn't it?
you
'Cause
can
it's not
share
just about
it,
getting cooler.
you can have
It's
a
about getting
restricted
smarter,
link, you can have an open link, anything you have. And the cost,
So let's peel back the layers and see exactly how they did it. All right, our first stop is the origin story. We're gonna look at how a company that started with a single focus.
and I only just gave this, right? You can give hundreds of sources, you can give
What's so interesting when
things.
you look at this timeline.
And
is the
later,
strategic pacing.
Do what they call
They started the road
discover,
in
where
90.
you can go onto
Just
the
3 years
internet
later,
and get more.
bam, they're a bank. That's a huge leap. And from there, it's the steady, deliberate expansion. Fiduciary services, mutual funds, and they even get into infrastructure. Each
And then if you look at the settings, and this one is new. Last semester I didn't have it, they added this. And now they're building a new notebook element that's called Learn My Way that will get more into depth. If I like more visual, I like more audio that they're doing. And this really became viral, what they can do. And then you can look at it and then they go through, you can set up a number of different languages. So if you have Portuguese or something, you want to have those guys, you can have it done in Portuguese and translate. Okay, so I can be, hours with you, but I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to answer any questions you have. Natalie told me, she's taking out the cane and taking me off the stage. They have to do questions. And we can continue later. Yes, Ugo.
Yeah, I was speaking with a client and he told me that the source of perplexity was more accurate than ChatGPT. Can you share your thoughts about that?
Yeah. Well, one thing, AI, if you're trading, go for anything that's doing an AI. And there, you look at Oracle, right? And look at AMD and now even Intel has done well. Anything that's doing it. It changes. Everybody is competing against the one versus the other. So you really have to try them out yourself and see where it works well for what you're using it for. So I wouldn't, at this point, ChatGPT works well. There's also a subscription level that you get the higher ones, but then they come out. I've done a lot of work with Gemini. I really find Gemini works well. What I like about Gemini is it works with a lot of these Google products, but everybody is kind of ones. Are you using Microsoft in your office?
Yes.
So Microsoft, are they trying to teach you Microsoft Copilot and all that? I don't like it personally. They're trying to pull that into our university. And, I was even trying to do some slides yesterday and I said, it took me longer even to try to figure out what was happening and some of the other ones go quickly. So Microsoft is trying to get in the thing. I personally, if you're asking me, and
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of theirs, maybe they'll get better, and as well. But I'd say, among those, you have to try it out, and also among what you're trying to do, on your knowledge base, and they're getting, and what is today is not going to be in another couple months. And where we are today, everybody's talking about hallucinations. Everybody know what hallucinations are when they get on the wrong track and they start telling it. And what I find is I have to tell it, it's great if you're looking at some of your trade on the trading desk and you're asking a question and you're an expert, you can tell whether it's right or not. Because they say it with such authority that if you don't know how, in terms of, I'm not a physician, I work with physicians, right? But when it tells me something, I work with physicians that are trying to use it in their practice, And then they said, hey, that was wrong. They're using old data. So we say, no, that's incorrect, and it will correct itself. Oh, and it'll say, oh, yes, you're right. And you just give it a little swerve and it'll go down the right path. You know, so it's evolving. What can I say? I've been in this business for so long, and this is really the biggest, steepest curve. You know, I was in the beginning with the internet. I was even at a point, I'll end this, where I had, you know, you all use spreadsheets. So Dan Brinklin invented the first spreadsheet, and he was a computer science major for MIT. And then he went to Harvard Business School. He's not dumb. I always like to have friends smarter than me. And he then went to Harvard for his MBA. And as he's working, this is before the PCs came on, just at the edge, he was telling his finance professor at Harvard, you know, I can do these problems, program it on a computer. And he was thinking about a spreadsheet. And the professor said, you know, business people aren't going to use computers, right? And then I told him, and then he did, and then he got it. That's what sold IBM. PC was his first program called VisiCal, you know, and then I went with him, you know, to meet, and I'll show you another one. And I used to go with him to major conferences where we would speak together. And he said, you know, Sara, I'll take you to private parties. So we go to this one private party, and it's a room half the size in Las Vegas. We're sitting around, and some guy, they don't want to tell anybody where it is because the press will come. So I sit in this room with about 10 people, and some guy orders, he's a multimillionaire, he orders some pizza for us. And I'm sitting next to this guy, and his name was Bill Gates. And I'm sitting with Bill Gates and these other folks, and this is before he was publicly traded, and they were arguing about the price of software. And my friend, who is also a musician, he basically invented your camera on your phone. His name is Philip Kahn. And he had a program there, and he wasn't as successful, but he enjoyed himself. He basically said, you know, I have programs, I charge $49 or 99. And Bill Gates says, you know, I don't go under $495. And I turned to my friend who was sitting next to me, and I go, this guy's an idiot. So you can see where he is and where I am. So never listen to your professor. Okay, that's it. The doctor told me, God told me. Thank you so much. I hope you. And I'm gonna shut down my computer and we'll see what's going on. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. Feel free anytime to contact me. And you have my information.
We can follow you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to discuss it. And seriously, we're trying to do, we have one where we're going to use some SEO and so forth, find your broker. And maybe you can help us in terms of, maybe that would help in terms of getting you more visible, trying to do some apps and AI, finding the broker. We're looking for matching services, you know, certain criteria. I want certain criteria to, and if you're interested in doing that, I always am looking for partners. Okay.